Hey, what's going on, y'all? Shawn here, and hopefully you're doing well on this. What's it? Tuesday. It's Tuesday, right? Yeah. Sorry. All right. Anyway, so you may have heard within the past 3, 4, 5 days or so, something very interesting. Your favorite chips, Doritos, and Cheetos are going without dye and without artificial flavors. So I think it's Doritos nacho cheese. So the classic nacho cheese, I think, is one of them. Uh, Doritos Cool Ranch, and then Cheetos Flaming Hot. So those four particular flavors are going uh without artificial colors like dyes and whatnot, as well as artificial flavors. Okay, so this is very interesting. It's very interesting. If you grew up like I did, you definitely are familiar with Doritos Nacho Cheese, Cool Ranch, all time classic flavor. And then Cheetos and Cheetos Flaming Hot. I was not a big regular Cheetos person, or Flaming Hot, but I did like the Flaming Hot a little bit more. But anyway, if you look at a picture of this stuff online, I wish I could kind of like put a picture here live, but I don't have the tools to do that. But yeah, it's interesting when you look at they have a side by side of the Cheetos Flaming Hot beside the Cheetos Flaming Hot, that doesn't have the dye on it or whatever. And it looks bland. It looks very bland. Now, let me try to cut to the chase because I don't intend to be on here long. Is that cool? Sure, it kind of is. It kind of is. To think that some of the bright colors and whatnot that characterize our foods will be removed. Now, I think it's very important to say that there are a lot of people out there who are familiar with artificial colors, artificial flavors, and all this kind of stuff, and the potential harms. But I think this is like a real important moment, because for those who aren't aware, when you see what the product you're familiar with, the brightly colored nacho cheese, Doritos, and then the ones without the dye and everything, you see, man, that color has nothing to do with the flavor per se. It's only there to attract me. So the reason why my Doritos were orange, bright orange, is because not because of the flavor, but because it was supposed to evoke a certain kind of feel. We all kind of know that. We all kind of know to some degree that the color is supposed to be attractive to us, but the fact that the color is just absolutely just added on top, has no additional benefit, could even have some harms associated with it. It's something I think is kind of brought out with the fact that people are now starting to make these products without the dyes and artificial flavors. Now it's important to note that Cheetos and Doritos are not getting rid of the classic Doritos or the classic Cheetos. They're not getting rid of them. They're just making this separate brand, which is called, for example, instead of Doritos Nacho Cheese, they have a separate Doritos, which is Doritos Simply NKD, which I'm guessing is supposed to be like naked. So like Doritos Simply Naked Nacho Cheese, Doritos Simply Naked Cool Ranch, and so on and so forth with the Cheetos. So yeah, so it's a separate brand. I think really what it's going to serve as is like a kind of like an experiment. What I'd be really curious to see is the sales. Like sales comparisons. Will introducing these no dye chips, and Cheetos and whatnot, would this actually bring sales down of the original versions? Will it um will sales of the oh for the oh these companies overall increase because they're making these without dyes. Because here's the thing: even if you take out dye and you take out artificial flavors, we all know still not the kind of stuff you want to eat. It's still not. It's not. I'm not going to sit here and act like I don't have, chips and stuff sometimes. Now these I hardly ever eat these, like, real talk. And not anymore. It might be once every few years. But we can't act like this stuff is still healthy. But it's just very interesting to me. Again, it brings to mind the fact that those colors serve no benefit. They serve no purpose other than to attract us to the stuff to increase sales. I mean, and of course, it's a company. They're going to try to increase sales, however, so they want to make the products more attractive. But just thinking about color that's not even attached to anything except for making it attractive is interesting. Because think about like an apple, or think about a carrot or something like that. The color is attractive. It is going to draw us in, and I think that's part of the purpose. However, the color is often also associated with some type of nutrient. Like, I think it's beta carotene in the orange stuff, like carrots and whatnot. It's actually a nutrient that is beneficial for your body. Whereas, again, the colors that are artificially put into these processed foods have no benefit and often have some detriment. Red 40 is one of the ones that's most commonly associated with, I think, like hyperactivity stuff and, different kind of things. The other thing I want to say too, just to mention it, it's cool that artificial flavors are being removed from these as well. The only thing is, from what I've heard, the little I know about artificial flavors is that there's not necessarily a big difference between artificial flavors and natural flavors. I mean, they're derived from certain things, which is from different things, which is cool. However, natural flavors as well are very highly derived substances. So, like, for example, like, people talk about uh natural flavor, like for vanilla, for example. Vanilla flavoring coming or vanilla, yeah, vanilla flavoring in contrast to vanilla extract comes from like pine needles or something like that. Pine needles. So it comes from a natural source. It's a natural flavor. However, how you have to go really, really deep into the, what do you call it? Like the at a molecular perhaps level of pine needles to get something that it has in common with vanilla to make a vanilla flavoring. So it's so highly derived. It's just, it almost is kind of like an artificial flavor. So anyway, do your research on that. But I just wanted to talk about this in brief. I think that it's cool that they're going without dyes and whatnot. My speculation is that sales of the regular Cheetos and stuff are not going to decrease, at least noticeably. Um, they will sell some of the Simply Naked products and whatnot, but I don't think that it's going to be like a huge thing because well, I don't know. I guess we'll just have to see, because the thought that I did have, but I just took it back, was that if people are avoiding Cheetos, Doritos, and different things like that, then getting like a version that's incrementally, in theory, healthier probably is not going to pull them back. Because we already know that those are still products that you don't want to eat a whole lot of. So anyway, what do you think? What do you think about these Simply Naked Cheetos and Doritos? Do you think it's going to be a big hit? Do you think it's good? Do you think it doesn't matter? Just let me know. I want to hop on here and talk about it a little bit and see what you guys think. Let me know in the comments, y'all. And yeah, have a good day. All right.